I'm very happy to be here with all of you. And I'm quite proud to be invited to talk about the Tango Duende. I like the idea that Maria Jose used yesterday, that she said that she came out with a baby she had with Yuma. I found it a very beautiful way to say it. So it's kind of the same story here with Tango Duende. I was already learning tango when I met Yuma, but of course all the experience I had learning to dance with Yuma helped me to understand a lot of things in tango that were not so evident to me. And well, we came out with this way of experiencing and bringing tango in the Duende network, which is quite specific, I think, and beautiful. So it's a working collaboration, and it's a baby that that's also learning to walk. It's still very experimental, even though it's been in the air for quite some years now, because I started, well, it's linked to the history of the Duende group in Brussels that had changes of dynamics linked to changes of rooms we had. So I started, I think in 2000, and before the first Serpa, so in 2009, when we had a center there, that then we had to quit, so I quit a bit the project, then I took it again when we had a new room, and I quit a bit, and then now it started again really a year ago. But I had the chance to bring already Tango Duende twice to Serpa, also to Vitoria. Once I was invited by Leire, so we had a workshop there a few years ago. But really, it started again this January, when I finished the certification with Yuma, the level 6, and also when Tulin joined in. So Tulin is a friend, also a student of Danza Duende in Brussels. Some of you met her this summer. Some of you know her from Brussels. She's a beautiful lady, dark hair, fair skinned, so you can imagine she's here next to me. Just thinking about her, she was not coming, but she's really present with me. Very proud to be in the part of the project also, and very supportive for me. I was leading the project alone before, and it's a bit absurd because tango is it's a partner dance. Yeah, we dance being two, so it's very useful for me to have her, and we are doing good job. She has a beautiful sensibility that's really inspiring. It's very nice to work together. As Yuma told yesterday, she's also a filmmaker, so we're also doing we're starting to experiment with the video, and well, we have labs going on. So yeah, we just wanted to talk about the history of how it came. Of course, when I've been teaching tango in a classical school for a few years now, always with partners, and I have some freedom in my lessons, but not as much as I would like, of course, because I have to be faithful to the pedagogy of my teacher, who is quite open and quite duende, but she has her own vision of how things should be done, and also I'm always working with a partner, and he's not studied or is not interested in going further in the research, but I can't impose my view in that school. So I was also feeling the necessity to have a space to really explore tango with all the seeds that we have in Danza Duende. Personally, I also experimented that my training with Danza Duende could really help me understand more of tango and going much more deeply into the sensations and into understanding how it really works. I think I have to explain a bit what is tango, because most of you probably have a picture, but to really understand more what tango is helps to see also the potential that it has in the project, in Danza Duende project. So a few things. Well, first you have to know that tango really is a popular dance. It was really created in a melting pot of immigrants living in difficult conditions, away from family, So with I have sometimes the feeling that it was a survival creation, like people getting together and having to create something to go through the difficulties they were experimenting, a bit like other dances, a bit like flamenco, for example. And it's for me very impressive to see the wisdom that's been created out of nothing, just by people having needs to construct together and to feel things together. And what they've created there is very impressive. It can be linked to many things related to energies, to feminine and masculine energies. A lot of martial principles can be found in tango, and it has to do with connecting to oneself, connecting to the other, connecting to space, because it's also a collective dance. And well, it's quite impressive. So it's a couple dance that you know. The roles are very defined. So there's a masculine role, we say role in English? There's a masculine role and a feminine role. Both really have to enter fully into what that role implies for harmony to be found. So it goes into quite deep understanding of what is masculine and what is feminine. And the responsibility you have to really accept this role and the subtleties of the role for it to work. So it's quite deep in this sense. And also you quickly find out that in each role there is already a mix of masculine and feminine. It's not a caricature of masculine or feminine energy, but it's different proportions of both. Yeah? And for it to work, you have to find both in your own way. So that's quite interesting. Well, tango has different ambitions, because it's at the same time, well, it was born as a popular dance for people to meet and to dance together, but it's also been brought to the stage. So that's also something to know when you study tango, and the objective of the students are not always the same. You won't work with the same way if people just want to share dance, social dance, or if they have ambitions to go on stage. It's a different way of working. Of course, the same principles apply, but it's quite different. Also, a particularity of tango is that there are many different styles. There's not one tango, one pure tango. It's because also it's so popular. It developed in different neighborhoods, and it's all improvisation. So it's really a dance you can. You have to work. You can't just repeat something you've seen. You have to really take it in and do something with it, and that takes some time. But also it invites you to explore various styles, to find your own and to find what's interesting for you. But also as a teacher, it implies, for me, it implies discriminating in the styles to find what is coherent for me with ergonomical body, organical body, a style that's not limiting options, that gives the most freedom and is the most respectful to the body. Sometimes you see kind of positions I wouldn't teach. And so it's also something that you have to look for. I was saying, so you have tango for social dancing and you have tango for stage. In both you have a part of improvisation. In social dancing it's all improvisation because the space around you is moving. It's a couple dance that you dance socially, but all couples are moving in space, not like salsa, for example, or rock, where you don't have to deal with the others in space so much. In tango it's also a collective dance. So you have to improvise with a moving space. It's quite interesting. Of course, when you dance for shows, you can go into choreographies. Mostly when it's taught, we learn sequences, we teach sequences. In the school I work with, and even more in Tango Duende, we quickly try to put in improvisation, so to break the sequences and make them do puzzles and everything. But anyway, that's also one specificity. So also one thing about tango also is that it's quite complex. You have some comment on dit les paliers? Like stages. Well, like everything, no, but it can be made quite accessible. So if you work with the little, if their mission is to dance socially, with a few steps, few things, you can already enjoy it and share it with people. And then you can always go deeper and deeper, and it's a never-ending story. But what happens often is that you get to some points where you think you've understood, and you stay there a lot. And if you don't have the chance of teachers who really make you understand subtleties, you can stay there for years. Yeah? Well, I think all learning processes are like this, but in tango it's quite strong. For me, one thing that really helped me to go further was to change role. So to really study the masculine role and the feminine role. So that's my experience in learning and teaching a lot, because for the moment I've been really centered on understanding and teaching, and not been so much into showing and performances. Now I'm starting to feel the need also for my understanding to go further, but it wasn't the case so far. But all that I've learned applying danza duende to my dancing and my teaching has been, now I bring it into really tango duende with some characteristics that are specific to what we do. I have put, it's a lot, so it's a lot, and a lot of fields are still in exploration. For the moment, I forgot to tell you concretely what's happening before going into all this. So I'm sure I say that, and in function of the time we have, I go into more detail. But so, for the moment in Brussels, so starting a year ago when we started working in the dojo in Brussels. I started giving with Céline one workshop for months. We've done different formulas. Mostly we have workshops lasting 3 to 4 hours, sometimes a bit more, and with different topics. Now, after the summer, we decided also to have collaborations because you've heard that in Belgium we have the chance to have various disciplines, and so we started really inviting our friends, colleagues, for a first part, to really work on the body, because it's something that sometimes is lacking when you give regular classes in tango. You don't have so much time, and I was realizing that when I would give 3 hours of tango, it was so necessary to work on the body, to really work on posture, that I wasn't giving much tango in the end. So I decided to really invite someone for 1 hour and a half to work on, I would do demands. I do demands to the teachers. I would like to work on this aspect or this aspect. And so we've been working like this. We've already had 2, and now we have a full program till June. So we're working with Claudia, who gives Pilates. We've been working with Jean-Luc, who works on Tai Chi and sticks. We've invited Pascal to come. We have this plan with Stephanie, but it's
next year.
It will be next year. Yuma is going to participate. Also Ozan Hutos-Fennekreis, who was in the project before. And I'm forgetting one. This is not very nice. We'll come back in it. So I'm very happy we have these collaborations also, because in my personal path it was so so clear that some things in tango I could not understand doing only tango. That was very clear for me. 5 more minutes. So I really had the chance in Danza Duende in Belgium to experience various disciplines, and doing that I could realize things that I did not see in tango, doing only tango. But that was that clearly were relevant to tango and would make my tango much more interesting and much deeper. So that's why I'm doing this with all the colleagues. So little particularities of Tango Duende in the way we're working. We have a tendency to work barefoot because we change roles. It's not that we want to work barefoot, even though for a lot of exercises it has it is relevant. But the high heels are part of tango and they have a function also in tango. So it's not that we want to get rid of them. But because we change role, leading with high heels is not good for the back and it's not so stable. So and also we want people to feel the ground. So we're working barefoot. We use meditation, mostly walking meditation, because it's something that's directly useful in tango and so important for tango to really associate the way we only walk in tango. We walk in all directions, and but we only walk. So we walk, we slide, we change directions. So the walking meditation is a very precious tool to have a tango that's now, that's here and now, always present, always new, always alive. So we use that a lot. So I was saying changing role is very important because it develops empathy. And also because after, of course, if you really want to study tango, it's useful to stay on, to choose one of the roles and to go deeply into one. But to really understand the role, you have to change. You have to take the other point of view. And as I was saying, it develops empathy a lot, because understanding the difficulties and the qualities of the other role makes you also understand better yours, and also makes you have more respect for what the other is trying to do. Also, we're working directly with creativity of people, so we work more on principles of movement than on sequences. Sometimes we use sequences because it helps, but we mostly work on a principle, and then students have to find their own the sculpt movements also. They sculpt their own sequences, and then they have to put variations inside, and so that's quite specific also. Something that we try to have space also for a verbal exchange of what they're experiencing in one role, in the other role. And that's also very appreciated, because we put that all together, and it helps going further into one's own exploration. So, have I said everything? The first workshop we usually do with a new group, or we call it les prémices. I don't know how to say that in English, but it's like the very start.
Preliminaries.
Preliminary? Yeah, it's also a nice word. It has a connotation that's interesting. Yes. The preliminary. And that's really studying together. So I don't come with concepts on what's masculine, what's feminine, but we experiment in this changing role what we feel, and sometimes it's they come out with qualities that I wouldn't have put in the same role, and that's very interesting, because we see directly that in each role it's mixed, that it's not a caricature. And we work a lot on deep listening to each other, because for harmony to be found, it's not possible to do otherwise. It's not that one is talking and the other one is listening. And so mostly what we work on is interdependence, conscious interdependence. And well, I don't know how many of you have done level 5, but it's also a way of experimenting level 5. Voilà.
So
to have some questions.
Such a nice
Such a
way.
nice time.
If it's possible, maybe we keep the questions for tonight. Okay.
Thank you.